Hi, I'm Foxozomos. 2 years ago, I made this video, Random Dark Fan-Made Spongebob Stories, and in that video, I explained some dark fan-made Spongebob stories that I used to watch as a kid, and I liked that video, and I've got some more Spongebob horror parodies that I watched as a kid, along with some new ones I found, so this is part 2. You don't have to go watch part 1 first, but you know, feel free to do so, and if you do, you're a cool dude. Alright, let's start the video now. First up, Red Mist. You know what's crazy? When I was a kid, I watched random SpongeBob horror parodies way more than I watched the actual SpongeBob cartoon. Yet somehow, I just recently discovered Red Mist. It's like the most well-known and popular SpongeBob creepypasta, so I decided to check it out for this video. Since it's so popular, there are multiple different versions of it on YouTube. The one I'll be looking at is Red Mist Retake by Vibing Leaf. Let's get to it then. Squidward is practicing his clarinet skills when he gets interrupted by someone knocking on his door. It's just a salesman, but then he knocks again, and looking all creepy, he tells Squidward that the red mist is coming and begs him to save everyone. Squidward is very confused by this, so he goes back to his clarinet. He's practicing because he's got a show tonight, which is very important to him. Finally, a chance to prove himself and show everybody his talent. In the evening, the Bikini Bottom gathers up in their community center. Squidward is just as nervous as he is excited. He walks up to the stage ups with no one cheering for him. He starts playing the clarinet, doing his best, but then everybody starts booing him and straight up leave. Damn! Squidward is left completely heartbroken and alone, so he walks back to his house and goes to sleep-ips. But then in the middle of the night, the red mist shows up and Squidward wakes up. He has a full-on breakdown, and after some scary imagery, he kills himself. In the end, we see Patrick and SpongeBob grieving over Squidward's death. And honestly, this part is beautiful. SpongeBob is deeply upset about Squidward's death, so Patrick has a little chat with him, and they grieve over the loss together. And that's Red Mist Retake. It's very well made. I suggest you go check it out yourself. All the SpongeBob horror parodies I'll be covering today will be in the description tips, so check them out if you want. Alright, next up is SpongeBob Haunted House. This one is also new to me, even though it's pretty popular. A comment recommended it to me in the previous video, so I decided to check it out. It was made by Cooler2000, and there's actually 2 parts. Part 1 came out in July 2018. So, SpongeBob and Patrick recently moved into a new house, and they've been noticing some strange things, so they set up a bunch of security cameras around the house to catch the paranormal activity on camera. Some random stuff happens, and then it's the next day, which means the guys are coming over. So after a few hours, Mike and Jeff show up, so they all hang out and play some games. SpongeBob goes to the computer to turn on the night vision on all the cameras and finds Patrick pooping, and he's kinda into it, but Patrick isn't, so he throws his feces on the camera. After some more time passes, Patrick, Jeff, and Mike are drunk and watching anime. But then Patrick and Mike start arguing over a girl in the anime, while Jeff has been quiet all night and starts hallucinating or something. The TV turns off, and when it turns back on, a ghost shows up, but only Jeff saw it. So they just go to sleep. The next day, SpongeBob and Patrick check out the security camera footage and see that Jeff was walking around the house at night, and he also just disappeared when everyone woke up, except for his wallet. He left it in the house. So Patrick and Mike use Jeff's money to go to the strip club. After that, Patrick decides that he wants to figure out what's causing all the paranormal activity because a ghost or demon keeps slapping his ass at night, but that's actually just SpongeBob. A strange noise comes out from the basement, so they check it out and find nothing. They set up another camera in the basement and go to sleep. And Mike also stayed again. During the night, some scary stuff happens until Jeff wakes up Mike and Patrick. They follow him downstairs into the basement where Mike gets killed. So Patrick runs to SpongeBob's room so they can escape, but then Patrick gets killed, and Jeff breaks into SpongeBob's room and kills him. And that's the end of SpongeBob Haunted House 1. The sequel came out in February 2019. The police explored SpongeBob and Patrick's house and found a bunch of body parts scattered around and all that, and after some time, the house is up for sale again. So Mr. Krabs buys it and moves in with his daughter Pearl, and Pearl's stepmom slash Mr. Krabs' wife. Mr. Krabs is all excited about the new house, Pearl not so much, and the stepmom is just here for the money. They all do some unpacking, a little jump scare happens, and then it's dinner time. After dinner, Pearl takes out the trash and finds Gary in the rain. She begs Mr. Krabs if she can keep him, and he says yes. Then when they go to sleep, Mr. Krabs wants to get freaky, but his wife, who's 18 by the way, doesn't want to. Imagine getting cock-blocked by your own wife, bro. The same night, Pearl gets jump scare dips again by something, so Mr. Krabs puts security cameras all over the house, and the wife, you know what, let's give her a name. Blitch. The Blitch doesn't know about the cameras, so she bangs her secret boyfriend in the bedroom, and Mr. Krabs finds out, and this makes him really pissed. He keeps the fact that he knows this a secret and goes drinking a lot, which makes him spiral down the path of insanity, and he turns from a friendly husband and dad to an abusive and very angry person. One night, he's driving drunk and runs over a man, but he doesn't help him so he doesn't get arrested and runs over him again. When he gets back, he yells at Pearl and Gary, and then the Blitch leaves to go flog her boyfriend, which pisses off Mr. Krabs. He fully loses it and follows Blitch into a hotel room where he kills her and her boyfriend. He drives back home and shows Pearl Blitch's head and tries to kill her. Luckily, Gary bites him, so Pearl picks up Gary and they run away. The front door is locked, so Mr. Krabs chases Pearl around the house with an axe. Pearl goes into the basement and finds the Blitch and her boyfriend's remains. Pearl is cornered in the basement, but then Patrick and Spongebob's spirits, or whatever, push Mr. Krabs down the stairs and he dies. So Pearl and Gary survive and the police once again search the house. And then in the end, it's implied that the house is no longer haunted or something. Either way, that's the end of SpongeBob Haunted House 2. If SpongeBob was Jeffrey Dahmer, this is also a two-parter. And I know this is a weird one. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer? SpongeBob? But it was made by the same guy who made the SpongeBob Makes a Krabby Patty video, which I talked about in the previous Slip video. So I thought I'd check this out. The first part is SpongeBob is Jeffrey Dahmer. It begins in the Krusty Krab. Squidward is looking at a sexy magazine and then he goes to the toilet, which is where SpongeBob kills him. SpongeBob then enters Mr. Krabs' office and kills him with the same knife. After that, he breaks into Patrick's house in the middle of the night, knocks him out, ties him up, and luckily we don't get to know what happens to Patrick after that. Next one on the hit list, Sandy. And okay. Sandy finds Squidward and Patrick's bodies under some sheets and then gets killed by SpongeBob. The video ends with a wedding, a Weddips with SpongeBob, Gary, and a bunch of dead bodies. Okay, that was pretty short. Let's do the other one now. SpongeBob is dissecting Patrick when Mr. Krabs visits him because he needs to make some kind of a phone call. SpongeBob brutally beats him with a hammer. Next, he barges into Squidward's bathroom while he's brushing his teeth and beats him with a bat. Mrs. Puff finishes her schoolwork and starts driving home, but then SpongeBob strangles her in the car. In the end, we see SpongeBob sitting in a room. He turned all his victims into decorations, the Jeffrey Dahmer style. Next up, I'll be talking about Panchito Matrix's SpongeBob vs. Zombie series. Panchito Matrix is like the OG king of SpongeBob horror parodies. In part 1, I talked about how he might have quit YouTube because he hasn't uploaded in a while, but he did. He uploaded SpongeBob Paranormal Activity 4 1 year ago. Hopefully he'll come back again because his SpongeBob vs. Zombie series isn't finished yet. It has one full season and the second season has 2 episodes, so there's 8 episodes in total. So even though it's not finished, there's a lot to recap, so let's get started. Patrick is shitting and eating while SpongeBob is browsing on his computer. He finds a house for sale and buys it, so Patrick and SpongeBob drive to it. They look around the house and find Mr. Krabs, but he's a zombie, so SpongeBob shoots him with a shotgun. They go upstairs, fight some more zombies, and then they hear some noises coming out of a closet. It's Squidward. He's hiding. They try to escape, but Squidward gets killed, so Patrick and SpongeBob jump out of the window. They're completely surrounded by zombies, so they climb to the roof. On the roof, they find Plankton. He's the one who made the virus and turned everyone into zombies. He turns himself into a spider and gets kill dips by SpongeBob. Patrick and SpongeBob eventually get rescued by a helicopter, which flies out of the Bikini Bottom all the way up to the surface, out of the ocean. The plane crashes and Patrick and SpongeBob land on a deserted island. They explore it and find some zombies. Turns out the virus spread into the island. Then Sandy shows up. She's got a sick-ass katana. SpongeBob and Patrick follow Sandy into a cave, so they set up camp and go to sleep. The next day, they leave the cave, fight some zombies, and then Sandy reveals she's got a boat. But this goofy muscular guy shows up and gets in the way. He's Plankton's best friend and he wants revenge, so they fight. SpongeBob kills him and the 3 of them escape the island with Sandy's boat. They arrive at a city, which Sandy says is free of zombies, but turns out that while she was gone, zombies infested the city, so they explore it and find Squilliam. He gets bitten by a zombie, so Patrick cuts off Squilliam's leg so he doesn't turn into a zombie, but Patrick cuts off the wrong leg, so he tries again and cuts the right one off. So they keep exploring the city to look for survivors. They find this doctor and he tells them that the creator of the virus is on the top floor of the big evil tower in the city. But wait, didn't Plankton create the virus? Nah, he was just following orders to spread it. The doctor dies and then everybody gets kidnapped by Mermaid Man. He interrogates them, kills Squilliam, but then his dementia kicks in and SpongeBob kills him. They go back to the city and find a weapons store, so they gear up and look for the tower. When they find it, Squidward blocks their entrance. He was revived and turned into a buff bad guy, so they kill him and enter the tower. But Squidward survives. In the tower, they kill a bunch of zombies and all that until they eventually reach the top floor. On the top floor, we meet the true virus creator, Gary. He created the virus because he thinks everyone in Bikini Bottom is a dumbass. Yeah, So our crew try to fight him, but Gary is overpowered. Luckily, Squidward shows up. He regained his consciousness, so we got the OG Squidward back, and he's really buff. So our team now have a chance against Gary. So Gary just escapes to his nuclear base with a helicopter. So our team leave the tower and go after Gary. Along the way, they fight some of Gary's henchmen, and then Sandy takes them to see a scientist she's friends with. The scientist transforms Squidward's body back to normal, but Squidward still has some of his strength, but using it makes him pass out. The scientist also gives the crew some ammo and clothes, so they leave. They cross the bridge to get to Gary's base, and on the bridge, they find an RV. In it, they clean themselves up and put on the new clothes the scientist gave them. They go to Gary's island and enter his base. They beat up some more zombies and henchmen and find Gary once again. Spongebob manages to get a hit on Gary, but then Gary just turns into an even stronger form. Patrick sacrifices himself to save Spongebob, and then Gary launches his secret biologic weapon. Squidward finds a minigun, so Spongebob spams Gary with it, and then Sandy blows him up with a bazooka and he gets heated into some kind of tube where his body gets destroyed and his head gets blown away. Spongebob cancels the biologic weapon, but then the self-destruct thingy happens, so Sandy, Squidward, and Spongebob use some escape pods to escape, and that's the end of Season 1. Season 2 starts off with the 7th episode. Spongebob's escape pod crashed into some kind of dried up forest where he finds a cabin. He puts on some new clothes and finds a village, which is infested with zombies and the creepy cult of farmers. Sandy's escape pod crashed into another abandoned city, while Squidward was lucky enough to land back at the scientist from before's lab, and he brought Patrick with him, so the scientist revives him. Meanwhile, Spongebob gets knocked out by some guy who injects him with a virus. It's not the zombie virus, it's a different one. It makes him paralyzed from time to time. Spongebob then finds a survivor, another starfish. His name is Patar. Spongebob and Patar look around, kill some zombies, and then the guy who injected Spongebob with the virus shows up. They kill him and find a map of the area. They also fill up a car with gas and drive off. Sandy found a helicopter and uses it to fly around. She finds Spongebob and Patar driving, so they hop on Sandy's helicopter. She takes them to a different city where they find Squidward and
Patrick.
So all of them enter some building and explore it. Meanwhile, we find out that Gary is alive, but he's in his original form. So he kills a guy and uses his phone to call some doctor. The doctor makes Gary a new and even stronger body. The building our crew entered turns out to be some kind of lab where they find new types of zombies. They get attacked by a really buff zombie, which might be a robot because he's being controlled by Gary. Gary spawns in a bomb and locks the doors, so Squidward holds off the robot zombie while everybody hides in a box. The bomb explodes and Squidward dies, but he saved everyone else. Then out of nowhere, Mermaid Man shows up disguised as a zombie. Turns out he's alive, I guess. And that's where the story ends. Maybe Panchito Matrix will continue this series, but it's possible that he won't because it's 10 years old now. But if he does make a 9th episode, it's probably gonna come out soon because he makes a new episode about every 1 or 2 years. And it's been 2 years since episode 8 was released. Anyways, I've got one last SpongeBob horror parodies for you, so let's get to it. It's called And Then There Were Less. God, that's kind of a tongue twister, isn't it? It was made by Hydrolink. He's the creator of Mr. Krabs Kills Pearl, a dark and twisted story about SpongeBob and Hitler, which I talked about in this video. This series has 4 parts, and it came out 10.5 years ago. Patrick is watching the TV, and SpongeBob is looking at some gay stuff, and then all of a sudden, viciously, he gets a strange email from a guy named Cal. He received an invite to an island, a free vacation. So tomorrow morning, the two of them hop on the plane and eventually land on the island. They see an old cabin and enter it. In it, they find a bunch of characters, and none of them is Cal. No one knows who the host is or where he is. Kenny asks Brian if he can have his drink. Brian gives it to him, and Kenny dies because the drink was secretly poisoned. So not only do they not know where they are, who the host is, or why they're here, now there's also a killer among them. It could be anyone, or maybe it's not one of them and he's somewhere else. Very big mystery stuff. Patrick becomes extremely aggressive and leaves, which is also weird. They get rid of Kenny's body and then everybody goes to sleep in their own rooms. During the night, some creepy stuff happens. Patrick enters SpongeBob's room and apologizes for being rude, and then everybody is woken up by some loud noises and find out that Homer and Bart were murdered. The next day, SpongeBob stays in the house because he's in shock, so Stan and the pink dog stay with him, while Peter, the old man, and Brian go in the forest because they found a blood trail that leads into it. In the forest, Peter stays behind to take a dookie, and then gets killed. Brian and the old man find some gloves and heads, and then the old man gets murdered, so Brian runs back to the cabin. In the cabin, SpongeBob came back to his senses. So who's even left now that a bunch of people were killed? Stan, Pink Dog, White Dog, SpongeBob, and Patrick, wherever he is. They all kinda start turning against each other, but without any info or proof, they all just go to sleep hips. The next day, SpongeBob finds one of Patrick's limbs outside and follows the blood trail into the forest. There, he finds Stan and Patrick's other limbs, but someone kills Stan, so SpongeBob runs back to the house house where Brian confronts him. Brian is convinced SpongeBob is the killer, but then he gets shot by the killer. He's here. It was Kenny. But wait, Kenny died. Aye, time to work my magic. I got some explaining to do. So, Kenny was born with a special gift. Just like in the show, he can revive himself. He's been trying to kill SpongeBob from the start, but Patrick was protecting him at night, checking up on him and that. See, Patrick actually knows about South Park, so he knows Kenny can be revived, and he knew Kenny was the killer as soon as he faked his death, but Patrick knew no one would believe him, so he became aggressive and protective, but Kenny managed to kill him. He killed everyone, only SpongeBob and the pink dog are left. But why did Kenny do this? Well, he wanted to eliminate all the other cartoons so South Park would have less competition. So then why did he kill Stan? Well, turns out he didn't. Patrick did. Patrick is a starfish and regenerated the lipidipided his limbs back, and he also stole Kenny's gun and just now entered the cabin. He shoots Kenny so the pink dog and SpongeBob are safe. All three of them leave the island and return home. Ah, what a nice ending to finish off the video. Yup, that's it. You've made it to the outro. Thanks for sticking around and watching, bro. In case you're wondering, I won't be making a part 3. I just wanted to return to these nostalgic SpongeBob horror parodies one last time. Don't forget to check out all the channels I talked about if you're interested. Links are in the description as always. Once again, thanks a lot for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you feel like it. I'll really appreciate it. And leave a comment if you have something to say. Alright then, bro. I'll see you in the next video. Unless I die. I mean, it's not like you would know I'm dead if I would actually die. You know, it's entirely possible that I'll get murdered right before uploading this video and the murderer is gonna upload this video. In that case, you're listening to a dead person right now. Again, if that would actually happen, you wouldn't know, so it's possible. Man, what? Yeah, you know what? I think I've watched too much freaky SpongeBob horror shit. I'm fucking leaving. Bye.